All right, it's here, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I'm still surprised it's 3.7 and we didn't go to like 4. I was expecting maybe 4 before. But anyway, Claude 3.5 has been my go-to model since it came out, honestly. It's just phenomenal. And I'm super pumped to have tested 3.7 today. Please don't shoot me if you disagree with like any of the feedback I have in here. This is basically a day of testing it with real code that actually lives in production and running these one-off prompts. I actually way more though the code that I actually use in my production app than I do the one-off prompts. But the one-off prompts are actually fun to do. If you want to wait till later on in the video, I'm going to actually run a little section of some of the things that I saw in production today, both a good case and a bad case, and I'll kind of talk through that as while it's happening. They also released Claude Code, which I spent about an hour with trying to get it to work well. It works really good in an empty repo or a very small repo. I did not have as much luck in my larger repos that I have. I'm hoping that that improves over time, and I think that's just a matter of, being in early experimental mode. It's like early release mode. I did actually crank through a ton of tokens on my API today, and I think I used like 10 million tokens or some ridiculous amount between OpenRouter and my actual Claude API key. So I've got a lot of testing in, so let's jump into some of the demos. All right, I'm going to test the real-time collaborative whiteboard application. The idea with this one is, can I actually build a one-shot app where two people can join together and see each other draw on the screen? I will say Grok 3 did an amazing job at that when I was initially building this prompt to see if it would work. I've not tested it with many others. Claude 3.5 Sonnet did not work. O3 Mini kind of works, so it hasn't been totally great yet. So let's go ahead and kick this off with Claude 3.5 Sonnet. The one thing I've been very intrigued by is the shortness of how it thinks. Like 5 seconds of thinking just feels very low. I'm not totally sure, why. I don't know if I feel like their extended thinking is really like a reasoning model like what I'm used to. All right, I have a working version of a whiteboard app here. So there is a server application of this, and there's a client application. You can see the icons are kind of jacked up. So if I hit this one, what is that? Oh, actually, oh, this is a line. You can kind of see it. I think these are colors. Let me see what this one is. Oh, that's a rectangle. That's my circle. This is my eraser. So, and then if I crank this over, which I really like, you can see I'm erasing. And check over here. They're matching 1-to-1. Isn't that like super cool? Let me see what color this is. Oh, let me grab. Oh yeah, look. I can type little characters in there. Change the colors. I mean, this is incredibly well done. And I haven't had one actually work this flawlessly other than Grok 3, but it did not have near the amount of tools that this had. I think this must be the clear button. It didn't clear the text. Maybe, oh, because I probably would still highlight it on it. Like, check that out. And it's all using WebSockets behind the scenes. Isn't this neat? All right, I'm going to jump over to the next test now. This is one of my favorite ones, with which is a traffic simulation with real-time visualization. Grok 3 Think is the only one that has done anything remotely realistic. I've got high hopes here for Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but we'll see what ends up happening here. Is it only going to think again for 4 seconds? Yep. All right, so this is the Claude 3.7 Sonnet one. Traffic simulation. What is happening? Uh, this is hilarious. It's so close to being good. I love it. But it's not quite right. Because you can see here, like, red light and green light. Look at this car. Go, stop. Go, stop. Go, stop. Oh, no, it's going now. Now it's stopping. It's looking at this light. It is actually pretty sweet, though. Oh, my God. It's getting so close to this. All right. At the same time, I actually put together a Grok 3 one, just so we can kind of compare what the differences are here. This one is extraordinary. If these lights change to red and the cars stop, I am going to be ecstatic. Yep. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but this is pretty clear to me. Like, this one nailed it a lot better. It's even better than the last time I ran it. Um, it's very clear that the red lights are on this street and the green lights are on this street. And the cars are actually stopping properly here, and now they're going properly. Isn't that sick? Super cool. I'm still a big fan of Grok 3 with Think on. Okay, I'm going to be doing this one next, which is basically I want it to write an application that allows me to train a neural network to detect numbers. And I've been working on this prompt a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off here, make sure we're on extended. And then I'm also going to kick this off on Grok as well, because I'd like to be able to compare that. I don't know what you guys think. I just love this animation here. There's something about this that just makes me feel like it's pretty amazing, like it's doing some crazy work behind the scenes. Whoa, check this out. We actually triggered a high think number for Claude. Wait, it's generating code in there. Look at that. We're up to 57 seconds, but I don't know if that should be in think. I feel like it. This is a pretty comprehensive request. That is exactly why I'm doing it there, buddy. 1 minute and 9 seconds now. How's Grok doing? It's up to 70 seconds. So on the other hand, Grok Think actually came up with 120 seconds of thinking. We're going to go ahead and grab theirs. And while it's working, let's run it. Oh, we got an error. This is pretty cool, though. This is kind of working. But you can see over here in my console that we got a PIL image with no attribute anti-alias. This is what I want. I want it to be able to have it do some handwritten stuff and then be able to train it and then ultimately do a prediction. That's too bad. Claude, on the other hand, still going, so we'll check back here in a minute. All right, it is done. It thought for 3 minutes and 38 seconds. It actually hit the message length. I told it to continue. It thought for another 3 seconds, and then it updated the app. I really hope this works. It did enough thinking to convince me that maybe it will. 635 lines of code. It's pretty impressive. Please work. Oh my god. Draw a digit for prediction. How do I do this now? Like, is there a training mode? Oh yeah, right here. Training mode, draw digit 0. Save sample. 0. 0. All right, I have drawn all the samples. I have 30 of them now, and apparently I can train the network. We're going to train the network with 500 epochs because that's the default. Oh my god! It actually worked! This is the first oh my god! This is freaking incredible. This is when I built this prompt. This is what I had in mind. Maybe even better than what I had in mind. It's collected samples. It guided me through that. Let me just try 0. Oh my god. Does 8 work? 1 work? 7 work? 5 is sometimes odd on these. Yeah, so see, it predicted 3 there. I'd have to get a few more samples of 5. 5 is usually the one that's tricky. It got it, actually. As long as I kind of match it a little bit more. It still thinks that's a 3. But when the ones I built in the past, like 5 was always like awkward to actually get right. Watch it. So it's changing. Real time as it predicts. What if I do a big... Oh. What if I don't close it? Yeah. I don't know, guys. This is freaking awesome. This is unbelievably cool. I am going to actually save this one off as a different file so I can use it for later. That's kind of a benchmark to test other things. This is the best one I've ever seen. Unfreaking believable. All right, here's one of my classic ones. This is a game of pool. This is using the extended think version. I feel like there's something interesting going on with it because there's sometimes I only get a few seconds of think and other times I get a minute and 6 seconds. And this makes a huge quality difference, like massive quality difference. Like I actually got the one before, it was 3 minutes and some. So let's go ahead and kick this off. This looks so freaking awesome. The balls are correct. They're a little bit close to the wall here. The pockets are there. I've got my stick pointing in the wrong direction. Oh, and no, it crashes. No. All right, I asked it to fix the error and it did. You can judge it however you want. It seemed like a pretty minor one. I just want to see how good the physics are. Amazing. I didn't put enough heat on it, that's for sure. There we go. That's beautiful. Go in the hole. Go in the hole. I want to see if you go in the hole. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, shoot. I don't have a good shot here. Oh, I probably don't want to hit it that hard. Keeping. This one is fantastic. Other than that error, this one might be better than Grok 3. Yeah, the trick is getting it to think longer. I really wish I could control that a little bit more. I am in love with this one. I'm going to save this one off too for future. This one is just fabulous. This is a functioning pool game. It even drew a pool stick. I have never had one draw this full of a pool stick. Like it's unbelievable. Yay, I got one in. So good. Okay, so I set up Claude 3.7 Sonnet in production. Now, the one thing that I don't know is how to actually enable it to do the extra thinking. So I'm pretty sure all of this is just the baseline normal mode. I have a feeling if I could figure out how to get that to work via the API on OpenRouter, it probably would work a lot better. There are a few things that I just kind of want to call out here. The first is if you put it in ask mode, I found that it does a much better job. Because like watch it all the stuff that it's doing here, putting together. It actually will put together an entire plan for all the things that actually need to be done. All of this speed right now is 5x. So take a look at this. It put together a very nice current flow. All the stuff needs to be done. I've switched it over to code mode now, and you're seeing it actually start kicking off the code. The task is actually relatively simple. Like I basically have a button that you hit, and instead of opening a screen, I actually want the button to just animate a little bit. And then when it's done, I want the button to swap to a different state. And then when you click it, it'll open up this like big modal to actually show you what you're doing here. So we're up to 56 cents already. We've used 33.5, 34 now, 34,000 of our context window, and we're just cranking away. It's actually doing a really good job like navigating across files. You know, I didn't give it a whole lot of context here. If you look at the task I gave it, I basically told it one file, and it's done a decent job like navigating into other files. But honestly, I've had Claude 3.5 also do that as well. So I use this for I have about 3.5, maybe 4 hours of recording of actually doing tasks and coding with this while I was doing some other stuff off to the side. And honestly, I think it did okay. So now we're taking a look at it. You can see here the email is generating, it's animating properly. It did what I was wanting it to do there. It had navigated quite a few files. That cost me $1.27 for it though, so it's not cheap. Like it's actually maybe I'm just being too cheap in my mind, because if I were to pay an engineer to do that, it'd be a lot more. But it's not cheap relative to like some of the other LLMs I use. Now I'm asking it to just kind of hide some buttons. This is a very simple task. I would typically never use Claude for this because it's just too expensive of a task for something this basic. Um, Really, when there's no promotion, I want it to actually just hide. Now here, I was very disappointed, and I felt like I needed to cut this in to kind of show something that I was not happy with. What ended up happening is it basically negated all of the logic. And you'll see me here in a second pull in the Claude website and actually start giving it some of these errors. Like, check this out. We have an error here. I'm giving that to it now. This task really, I had something that I could have probably done in 15 seconds, 30 seconds probably. And honestly, it didn't do that great a job. And now I got an API request failure, which, you know, everybody's hammering Claude right now, so I get it. I did end up retrying, and I think I remember it working at this point. So now I'm actually looking at the code myself. I'm like, I don't know if I actually want to pay for this. I'm just gonna go do it myself. But then I'm like, nope, nope. I gotta stay true. I can't be changing that. I want to actually see how this actually works from end to end. So now watch this. Look at me. Now, no items are showing at all in the taskbar. I think you might be looking at the wrong variable. I'm even trying to guide it in the right direction a little bit to tell it what's going on here. Say, come on, please. And then it's like, okay, I did it again. But now I'm at $1.16, and I'm like, okay, I just am cranking through credits right now. So I'm willing to go up to maybe like $2 here, and we'll see kind of where we land. You see this very minor change, and at this point, I'm like, oh God, it's not even close to what I needed to actually do at this point. It's changing some functions now, and then at this point it starts duplicating functions. So it put functions in there that already existed, and I had to kind of unwind that manually here. So I was like, no, I don't want that. So I backed that out. So this whole task, which is something that I could have done in 30 seconds, ended up being a nightmare. And look at this. I'm at 246 now. And like, okay, so now I'm adding some logs in there because it's done so much. I'm like, I want to make sure my theory is correct. And at this point, I'm actually going to pull in the Claude 3.7 like web because I'm not going to have to pay for the API cost. Like, check this out. It gets it right away. I just have to go grab this like function. It's it has the right answer. Like it basically had the v if correct there. It's unfortunate like that this ended up like taking so much time. I spent way more time on this than I should have spent. And this happens with AI models. And it wasn't an every time event, but I found Claude 3.7 just goes off the rails. And then I'd end up taking it into the console. And I did this probably 7 times today, where I'd start in root code, and then it'd go crazy, and then I'd ultimately run it in the web console, and then just kind of figure it out, and then copy it back in. Because I really wanted to hammer Claude 3.7 today to see how it worked. But this one was incredibly painful. The first one was great, and then I gave it what I thought was a layup, and it blundered it so badly. So anyway, that was sort of my production workflow of that today, and I don't know if it's just a complication of like how many files I have and what it needed to navigate, but I was really disappointed because it looked like it started off on such a strong suit, and then something like this would happen to me. Again, I can't really like compare this to Claude 3.5 directly without like going back in time, and I probably should do that. I should probably snapshot it so I can see how Claude 3.5 would have done in the same situation. But I have a feeling Claude 3.5 probably would have worked a little bit better there. I'm excited about Claude 3.7. Some of the tests that I showed were just phenomenal. But you see people on X like saying it's a step jump, like a huge jump, step change from 3.5. And, you know, granted, I'm only half a day into it, but I don't see it quite yet. I personally only care about the coding use case, which is what I think Claude is just the best at. So I have on my list a bunch of other things I want to test. So I want to go through and I want to test like taking a mockup and generating like a Vue application from it or a React application from it. Because Claude 3.5 is amazing at that. I also have like some APIs that I want to try creating. But I'll say today, with the coding that I needed to do, it was like average. I wasn't blown away by it. I feel like I could have done just as good with Gemini Flash 2.0. I gave it some trickier questions. It did good. I gave it some layups and it did bad. Like it was just kind of interesting. And I also played around with Claude Code for a little bit, and that also I felt like needs some work, especially in maybe it's just my code. Maybe it's just not good at like Vue code in particular. So maybe I need to go and actually use it in like some React applications. But I was super disappointed in what it actually did for me. Even Claude Code, which people are like saying is a game changer, I feel like Root Code or GitHub Copilot, the agent mode is just as good. I'm really hyped to test this more, and I'm not going to be able to fit all the tests actually in this video, because I did hours of it, like absolutely crazy number of hours of testing after work today. And like I said, I have hours of footage recording both Claude code and the production code I did today. And I just can't fit that all in here. So if you'd like to see more of this, if this is interesting to you, let me know. I'm going to continue testing this. I'm going to try to use it for the rest of this week and see how it kind of improves over time. I feel like the trick in my mind is how do I trigger the extended thinking? Because when that happens, I get like high quality. When I don't get the extended thinking, it's basically, it feels like Claude 3.5 to me. Anyway, that is going to wrap it for today. If you want to see more of this, because I actually have other footage I didn't include in this video, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of Claude 3.7 Sonnet so far? Are the results you're getting better than my results so far? Specifically in like your day-to-day development. You know, the one-shot coding, and that's fun. I love doing those demos, but I really care about productivity and being able to like crank out and actually do code for production in high quality. So anyway, I'm going to use it the rest of the week, and I'll keep reporting back. Till next time, guys. Peace out.